No longer on mute. Excellent. We're just waiting for our last couple of individuals to come join us here. And the funky slideshow. You give me 2 seconds, I'll pull it up here. It's super cool. Credits to Hassan. He's amazing at graphic design, and he's really good at what he does. And next up is Tim. Take it away.
Thanks Liz. Bonjour tout le monde. Je m'appelle Tim, je suis le commissaire de la Planification ici au syndicat étudiant. Mes pronoms sont il, lui. Hi everyone, my name is Tim. I'm the Advocacy Commissioner at the UOSU, and my pronouns are he, him. I will try to share my screen to share my PowerPoint if I've been given the power to do so. I think I have. Okay. I'm gonna try to pull it up on like a full screen kind of deal. Can I just get like a few thumbs up in the chat or some like reacts if you can see the PowerPoint right now? Actually, I have to find the chat. Oh boy.
We can see it.
Thank you. Awesome. Thank you very much. Okay, so I've been asked to do a 10-minute equity presentation, and I was like, what am I going to cover in 10 minutes? Because equity is a word that encompasses a lot of different things and can mean a lot of different things for clubs, especially virtually. There's huge changes as well. Donc, on m'a demandé de faire une présentation sur l'équité, une présentation qui sera forcément rapide puisque le mot équité est un terme très vaste, très large qui englobe beaucoup de sujets. Et avec ce qui se passe en ce moment, vu que nous sommes tous virtuels, il y a de nouveaux défis qui sont bien sûr qui ont ressorti. Donc, je vais essayer de faire le mieux que je peux, mais c'est ça. So I'm going to do what I can, but I think what I want to leave you with is, if there's any questions, come to me. I want to help make your events more equitable and inclusive. So let's see if I can figure out how to there we go. So why consider equity? Pourquoi faut-il prendre en considération l'équité? Pour moi, il y a 2 raisons simples. D'abord, la raison un peu comme, je dirais la bonne raison, la raison un peu plus gentille, c'est on veut que vous vouliez aussi, j'imagine, que vos événements soient les plus inclusifs possibles. This is kind of the good reason, the reason why you should do it out of the kindness of your heart, is to make events more equitable and more inclusive for more members of the community. You'll grow your club, you'll have a more diverse group of students, active members, which is always an asset, and you'll be able to benefit from their perspectives. So that's kind of like the more obvious reason. The other reason is the bad cop reason is because the club's code outlines a basis, a minimum of what we expect clubs to do when it comes to equity. It's nothing scary, but it emphasizes that we want you folks to take it into account. Donc, une autre raison un peu plus qui vous impose un peu plus de choses, c'est que le code des clubs veut et vous oblige de prendre en considération l'équité et d'essayer en tout temps de rendre vos événements de plus en plus accessibles, de plus en plus inclusifs à une plus grande partie de la communauté ici à l'Université d'Ottawa. Donc, on va parler un peu du code des clubs maintenant. We'll talk a little more about the club's code. I've copied out of the club's code, and thank you, Hassan, for sending me the French version of the club's code at like 10 p.m. He was mad at me for making him do work at 10 p.m., but I really appreciated it. Thank you. So I'll just read through the sections in English here. All clubs must comply with all provisions of policy of the UOSU, University of Ottawa, the City of Ottawa. All clubs must maintain inclusivity to all members of the University of Ottawa community. And the big one here, it's in bold, or in blue and bold. All clubs must commit to the principle of equity and avoid discrimination. This includes, but is not limited to, the following. Don't advocate against access to a legal abortion. We don't like it when you do that. That's not an appropriate use of the platform and the spaces that we are asking students to benefit from, clubs benefit from. Your activities must not include advocating for discrimination under the Ontario Human Rights Code, and the activities must not promote ableism, racism, sexism, homophobia, transphobia, anti-religious bigotry, or any other forms of oppression. Donc en français, je cite du Code des clubs, tous les clubs doivent se conformer à toutes les dispositions et politiques du CIO, l'Université de la Ville d'Ottawa. Vous devriez maintenir l'inclusivité à tous les membres de la communauté de l'Université d'Ottawa. Vous devez vous engager à respecter les principes d'équité, et c'est la partie la plus importante, à éviter toute discrimination. Cela inclut, mais n'est pas limité, à ne pas revendiquer contre l'accès à un avortement légal, ne pas discriminer ou défendre la discrimination en vertu du Code des droits de la personne de l'Ontario. Et vous ne devez pas promouvoir le capacitisme, le racisme, le sexisme, l'homophobie, la transphobie, le sectarisme antireligieux ou tout autre système d'oppression. So these aren't words that I'm throwing at you to scare you. It can be summed up really simply, which is just please be kind. If there are clubs that actively go against some of these things, then we're going to receive a lot of complaints. And our responsibility in order to make sure that students, when they're joining a club, can expect a minimum of safety and a minimum of inclusion and welcoming, is we have to look into look into the activities of your club. And so we've only done this a couple of times, but I think it's important to emphasize that this is there and it's enforced in order to ensure that students feel safe and welcome in clubs. And so, like I said, this isn't some scary concept that you need to be terrified about. Just respect the club's code, be respectful, be kind, non-oppressive, and welcoming. This is the basic minimum that we should be doing as human beings, and that we expect clubs to adhere to as well. And things that you can do to go above and beyond that, above and beyond being welcoming, and of people of all different faith backgrounds, of people with different abilities, of people of different ethnicities or races, is make an effort to go above and beyond. So you can try to make your event accessible to students with disabilities. I think Deandra gave a great presentation on that earlier, which I unfortunately wasn't able to attend, but I think it's a lot of tips and tricks which Deandra gave you all, which I encourage you to look into. And also reflect on who your event might be excluding or leaving out. Reflect on the culture of your club and the spaces you're creating for others. And so, like, this is a bit of a trickier one, and it requires a lot of reflection and noticing things which you might not be in the habit of noticing, many of us. But if you're in a club that's like all white, for example, where you're not having marginalized communities in your spaces, or students from marginalized communities in your spaces, then reflect on why that's the case. What kind of culture? Who are you marketing to? Who are the kind of people who want to get involved in your activities? Now, I understand, by the way, that there are a huge diversity in what clubs do, and different people that those activities appeal to. But I think what I'm trying to say is be as inclusive as possible and go above and beyond what you think initially, or what other people think you need to know. Now, obviously, there's clubs that represent certain faith groups or religious backgrounds or ethnicities or international students, and so on and so forth, and that's fine. Those are safe spaces for those students to be able to have community. I guess the most important, what I'm trying to communicate is clubs are essentially communities of people who share common interests. Try to make sure that everyone who could possibly share an interest, a common interest, who wants to be a member of the community, feels included. If a student comes to you and says, I'm not, I faced this experience or had this experience, I don't feel included, I felt bullied, and so on and so forth. As leaders in your clubs, please reflect on that, listen to them, believe them. People don't just say that for no reason. And reflect on what you can do. And if you need advice, if you need help, CVUO is there, UOSU is here to help you out. We want to really build inclusive, cooperative spaces for everybody. Donc, rapidement en français, je ne veux pas faire peur en vous récitant le code des clubs pour essayer de faire comme si nous allons essayer de bannir tous les clubs. C'est pas comme ça. Tout ce qu'on veut, c'est que vous soyez respectueux, que vous soyez gentils, que vous soyez non oppressifs, que vous soyez accueillants et que vous fassiez un effort actif de reconnaître qui sont les membres de votre club et quels sont les espaces que vous créez pour les autres et qui est-ce que vous excluez, pas par exprès, mais qui ne se sentent pas représentés dans votre club. Nous sommes sur un campus extrêmement divers, avec des gens avec beaucoup de perspectives différentes. Et je pense que en tant que personnes qui veulent bâtir des communautés, des gens qui partagent des intérêts communs, nous avons l'obligation de réfléchir à qui est-ce qu'on exclut et qu'est-ce qu'on peut faire pour rendre notre club plus accessible, plus accueillant à des gens de différentes origines. So I think I'm seeing that my time is rapidly coming to an end. I'll do two more things. First of all, remember, it does take sometimes more effort, more work, more thinking, more reflection to include people from different backgrounds. But you can't just apply the same standard to everybody. That's quality. But equity is when we're giving marginalized folks or folks who don't feel included the support and the resources they need to participate fully in society. And so that principle can apply in many ways to clubs as well. And if I can leave you on one easy thing that you can do, une chose facile que vous pouvez faire, land acknowledgements. I think CVUO did one earlier today. I know that there's some context where a land acknowledgement might not fit, but if you're at a club meeting, for example, a general meeting, if you're like a book club, for example, in a quieter space, a land acknowledgement to reflect on the spaces we occupy, as many of us are settlers on indigenous territory. That's my timer. Can stop. These can really spark reflections on the land that we occupy and recognize the original spaces in our society that are exclusionary in nature. Donc, si je veux vous laisser sur une chose, essayez de faire des reconnaissances des terres pour des raisons que j'ai écrites sur le PowerPoint. Et maintenant, je pense que je vais passer la parole à Liz qui pourra par la suite passer la parole à Marissa. Donc, merci tout le monde pour votre temps et bonne journée. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much, Tim. That was an absolutely amazing presentation. And next we have our good gal. Her name is Marissa, and she'll be joining us for a wonderful presentation on bilingualism. And Tim, you were doing an amazing job at being bilingual there. Good job. And let's find Marissa. Oh, there she is. Excellent. Marissa, take us away.
This will be joining as well, the coordinator of the Bilingualism Center.
Say it again.
The coordinator of the Bilingualism Center, Jesus.
Excellent. Oh, I think he is.
Sorry, I was muted.
There we go.
Alright, so je vais partager mon écran. I'm going to just share my screen, the presentation. Give me 1 second. It's not letting me share my screen.
What's it telling you, Marissa?
Sorry?
Is it telling you something?
It's telling me I need to give Zoom permission. I don't think I've shared my screen on Zoom before on this computer.
I know. Are you on a Mac or on a Windows computer?
I'm on a Mac right now.
Those are always a little tougher. If you want, I could share your presentation and then click when you say click.
Sure. Yeah, that works. Thanks.
Okay. Yep. Just make sure to say click in English, because.
Est-ce que tu peux nous présenter?
Okay, do you see it?
Yes, thank you.
Ok, donc bonjour tout le monde. Hello everyone. My name is Jesus. Je suis le coordinateur pour le Centre de bilinguisme. I've been coordinator for the Bilingualism Center for a little over a year now. And I've been working with Marissa for just about as long. And today we're going to be giving you guys a little bit of information about what Marissa is going to be doing on campus to help you all attain your bilingual and linguistic duality goals within your clubs. We're going to also present the services that the Bilingualism Center offers for all of you as well. And so we're going to be going over Qu'est-ce que l'offre active. So active offer is going to be covered by Marissa. Oh, sorry. Yes, next slide. I clicked next on my screen and I was like, oh, yep. So, and then we're going to be going over some of the communication best practices that you guys can be using from within and towards the external. Then we're going to go over some events planification. We realize that, with COVID right now, it's not going to be ideal, but virtual events are something that we've been able to pull off pretty well so far. And, we're going to be going over some best practices for that. And then we're going to finish up with a few resources that are available to you guys. Next.
Yeah, so je vais commencer à parler avec qu'est-ce que l'offre active. C'est de quoi on parle aujourd'hui. C'est first we're going to cover what is active offer, which is essentially what we're going to be talking about today. How best to promote bilingualism within your clubs. So essentiellement, c'est une invitation ouverte aux étudiants d'utiliser l'anglais ou le français. Essentially, it's an open invitation to all students in your club to use French or English, whichever they prefer. And it's from the very first contact that you make. Donc, ça commence dès le premier contact et ça a pour but de créer une sensibilisation au sein de votre club et de faire en sorte que les membres sont informés des services disponibles en français et y ont accès et n'hésitent pas à les utiliser. Ça, c'est le but ultime. So the goal, the ultimate goal of bilingual active offer is to make it so that members are aware of the services offered to them in French and English, have access to them, and then take advantage of them without hesitation. Next slide. Donc, pour les communications, à la base, tout doit être en français et en anglais. Idéalement, le français serait d'abord, juste parce que sur le campus, l'université est bilingue, mais on reconnaît que le français, c'est la langue minoritaire, donc on veut le mettre à l'avant pour encourager l'utilisation du français et pour un peu reconnaître que on fait cet effort en plus pour accueillir les francophones. Et la qualité doit être la même dans les deux langues. So all communications, the basis of all communications is that they should be in English and French. Ideally, the French would be first in any of your social media content, emails, everything. Just because it is, University of Ottawa is a bilingual campus, but we recognize that the French language is the minority language on campus, so we like to put French first just as an indication and a recognition that we are trying to reach francophones, and we recognize that it takes a bit more effort to encourage French language use. And obviously the quality and the information should be the same in both languages. Next slide.
Sorry, Marissa. I think Amit has a question in the chat. I think they missed why French first.
Yeah. So so French is first in everything that the student union does, at least, and the university, because the university recognizes that French is the minority language on campus. And then it takes a bit more effort. Sorry. It's just an extra step to reach francophones. I don't know if that answers the question. I'd be happy to elaborate more if needed. So for events that will be, I'll save this question for the end maybe. I won't forget about it though. So yeah, event planning, la planification d'événements. So le bilinguisme doit être dans vos têtes tout au long du processus et ne devrait pas être une question de juste tout traduire à la fin. Et en fait, il y a des ressources pour vous aider avec ça. The next bit is just going to be explaining the process of event planning and how to incorporate bilingualism throughout the entire process, because it shouldn't just be like an afterthought where you just translate everything at the end and ask if anyone has any questions in French or whatever. And just a reminder that there are resources to help you, which we will touch on throughout and at the end of the presentation. Next slide, please. Donc oui, avant l'événement, les priorités, c'est de s'assurer qu'il y aura des membres de l'exécutif présent qui sont bilingues pour pouvoir accéder aux étudiants qui sont francophones ou qui sont anglophones, peu importe, qui sont unilingues, qui auraient des questions ou qui se sentiraient pas à l'aise de participer dans leur langue de choix. Ce serait aussi de faire la promotion de façon égale dans les deux langues que j'ai mentionnées avant. S'assurer qu'il y aura des options de traduction si le bilinguisme n'est pas possible, donc en présentiel ou en virtuel. Et pour vous aider avec tout cela, vous pouvez demander de l'aide au centre du bilinguisme ou les autres ressources qu'on a mentionnées à la fin. So before the event, it's a question of the priorities to keep in mind would be to ensure that there will be ideally execs present who are bilingual, just to ensure that any students who are unilingual will be able to fully participate without being afraid of, being not being able to understand or fully participate in the event, essentially. Be to promote it equally in both languages, as I mentioned earlier. Ensure that there will be translation options if or when full bilingualism is not possible, and that applies to both virtual and in-person events, although only virtual events are happening right now, but for future reference. And just to help you with all this, the Bilingualism Center is there, as well as other resources that we will mention at the end. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Donc, durant l'événement, ce serait important de faire un rappel au début de l'événement que les participants ont l'option de parler dans la langue de leur choix et de traduire tout au long et le faire en morceaux comme je le fais maintenant pour le rendre plus engageant et moins plate pour les gens unilingues qui doivent écouter aux deux. Et éviter surtout de demander au début si tout le monde parle X langue. C'est vraiment pas l'approche qu'on veut avoir. So during the event, it would be important to remind everyone at the beginning that participants have the option of speaking or participating in the language of their choice. To translate everything throughout and do it in like sort of bite-sized portions like I'm doing now, not like the entire thing in English and then the entire thing in French. That sort of gets a bit tedious for people who have to listen through everything and then they stop paying attention after a while. And definitely avoid asking like the question and assuming everyone understands one language or the other. It doesn't promote the sort of environment that we want, especially at the University of Ottawa, which is bilingual. And after the event. Next slide. Next slide, please. So après l'événement, ce serait d'évaluer, de faire un petit retour sur l'événement. Est-ce que le niveau de participation dans les deux langues pourrait être amélioré? Est-ce que il y avait quelqu'un qui... il y avait personne qui parlait dans une langue ou l'autre, et demander à vos participants ce qu'ils ont pensé, et soyez ouverts au feedback. So after the event, it would just be a question of sort of gauging the level of participation in each language. Like, could it be better in one or the other? And to ask your participants what they thought and if they thought there was anywhere you could improve, and just be open to their feedback, obviously. So, Jesus. Next slide, sorry.
OK, donc pour la traduction, there's a couple questions about translation and what services the Bilingualism Center offers to clubs. Donc, pour la traduction, vous pouvez utiliser les outils qui sont présentés ici. We have a couple links to translator tools. These are the same tools that we use. DeepL especially is a really great tool. You still have to be careful with specific terminology to certain subjects that you might have an event that's very terminology centered, because DeepL might still have trouble with finding the right words. In general, DeepL is pretty good at not making syntax errors or things like that, but it's still a good idea to have someone look over the text. If you don't have someone in your club who is bilingual or who speaks French, you can always send it my way at the Bilingualism Center. Hassan has my email, and my email is also available on the UOSU website. I'm usually also still on campus, not just right now. I'll be back as of next week. And the office is 215E. You can always come, just stop by and just drop off a document, or you can just come pick up my email there as well. What else? Donc, DeepL est un outil très bon qu'on utilise, nous, au Centre de bilinguisme pour faire la traduction. Vous pouvez utiliser les autres qui sont ici aussi. Juste avec DeepL, il faut faire attention avec la terminologie. Si vous avez un événement qui est vraiment spécifique à un sujet, DeepL peut avoir du trouble avec ça. S'il faut, une fois que vous avez utilisé DeepL et vous n'êtes toujours pas certain, vous pouvez venir me voir. Je peux jeter un coup d'œil à votre document, Marissa aussi. Mais je sais que Marissa, elle a beaucoup de travail déjà, donc vous pouvez venir me voir. J'ai beaucoup plus de temps qu'elle. What else? So the resources that we have at the Bilingualism Center is we do tutoring sessions, one-on-one tutoring sessions. They're completely free for all undergraduate students. And essentially, we will be starting those sessions up hopefully in a week or two. We just haven't been able to get staff just yet, but that is being taken care of this week. So we're excited to be able to get those services going for you guys again. Over the summer, I was working on a self-assessment tool. So especially for your events or for the structure of your club, it's a very easy kind of tool for your club execs. You just go over it yourselves, and it's very, very straightforward. It just asks you questions about, do you have someone who is bilingual on your team? If not, does your exec know where your team can direct someone who needs bilingual service, things like that. And it also has my contact information on there and the contact information for Marissa. If you find that you're not happy with where your club is in terms of linguistic duality, you can always just come see us, and we'll work with you to put together a plan for you to get to where you want to be. So that's really the main services that we would have for you guys as clubs. Just translation of PowerPoints, translation of documents. If you have a constitution that you need translated, we can do that as well. Just keep in mind that we are a small team. So translation is usually about a page per day. It depends on the complexity of the language, but usually we're able to do it about a page per day. if we're not too busy, we can usually get it done quicker than that. Other than that, I think that's what we do. Donc, pour les services que le Centre de bilinguisme offre, on a des sessions de tutorat. C'est des sessions 1 à 1, complètement gratuites pour tous les élèves du premier cycle. Donc, vous pouvez faire, on va commencer les sessions, je crois que la semaine prochaine. Et puis, c'est ça. Donc, c'est des sessions de tutorat pour l'anglais ou pour le français. Depuis, on a un outil d'auto-évaluation qu'on a créé pour que vous, comme exécutif de votre club, vous pouvez voir, OK, est-ce qu'on est là où qu'on veut être pour, dans le domaine du bilinguisme? Et puis, si la réponse à les questions qui sont là, c'est toujours non, et vous n'êtes pas content avec ça, vous pouvez venir me voir. Et puis, on va s'asseoir ensemble et on va faire un plan pour que vous puissiez atteindre les buts que vous voulez au sens du bilinguisme.
Okay, thank you so much. Can we have a great big thank you for Marissa and Jesus? Excellent. And you can, yeah, there we go. The resources are posted in the chat. If anybody has any more questions or wants any more information from the Bilingualism Club. Excellent.
Oh, Marissa, did you want to go over that one question?
Oh, if we still have time, I don't know.
Go for it.
Yeah, okay. So essentially, I think the question was, one thing I've always wondered is for events that will be held 100% in English, why would we advertise them in French first? That's a good question. Essentially, so this isn't like, we can't force clubs to be bilingual all the time. We can't, ideally, there would be, like, all events would be bilingual, like in an ideal world. But if there is an event that is like only in English or only in French, it wouldn't, like, I understand that it would be, it wouldn't make much sense to advertise them in both languages, but it's just a matter of like reaching out to those students anyways, and ensuring that they at least are aware of the event and what is happening. Even if they wouldn't necessarily be able to participate. So it's really up to how, like, who you want to reach for the events, if that makes sense. It's just, in general, a good practice to promote everything bilingually so that everyone is aware of what is going on and everyone is able to access the event if they want. Hope that answers.
And if I could just add one more thing to that. Especially now with a lot of the live translation apps that we have, it's very easy for a student to maybe just have a headphone in and be listening to the event. And so if they don't have access to the information on what the event is going to be and when it's going to be, you might be missing out on a student who's really interested in what you're going to be presenting for your event, and they would just completely miss out on it just because they weren't able to get the information that was there. Aside from that, you can always ask me at the Bilingualism Center if we have anyone available for your event, and we can always just have someone be there. Sometime, like, it's not always going to be something where we'll be able to translate your entire presentation, or we'll have someone standing up in front translating what the other person is saying. But with things like Zoom, what we can do is maybe have someone typing a translation live for your event, things like that. Those are things that we can try to have, especially if you reach out with us with like a solid amount of time before your event. I'm usually able to find someone to help out.
That is so cool. Oh my goodness, I didn't know that we could even do that. Yeah. Excellent. Okay, can we have a big thank you for our Bilingualism Club representatives? Super. And while our entire audience is still here on the chat, the CVUO office would like to present our next big event, which will be the Student Life Awards 2021. And congratulations, all of you guys have made it to the super special Easter egg announcement video that will now play. Okay, so we also would like to announce all of the winners from today's giveaways. They will be posted right now in the chat. And if you have won, please reach out to somebody from CVUO. That can be me or that can be the CampusVibez account, and we will be in touch with you very, very shortly. Finally, we have another little Easter egg to show all of you friends, and it's a little something from the CVUO Club. And everybody nowadays is on TikTok, because what else is there to do when you're doing school online, alone in your room? And to stay connected and to stay hip with the kids, as the old folks say, we have a TikTok to show you.
Come at me.
Let's go.
I cannot lose.
Okay.
And with that, the CVO team would like to say a great big hello and a great big goodbye. Thank you so much for attending to our Clubs Fair conference. And thank you so much to all of our beautiful and amazing and super cool speakers today. We hope you have enjoyed, and we hope that we will see all of you at the SLAs